Growing up, I was a huge fan of Batman. As I got older, my passion only strengthened for the Caped Crusader and his many attempts to thwart the evil doings of countless evildoers. The animated series and reruns of Adam West and Burt Ward walking up buildings gave me the outlet I needed when life got too tough. Now in my life, I actually read the comics and realize how unique the comic book industry is and how special those pages are. Dean Trippe is one of the guys lucky enough to work with these treasures every day. As manager of Area 52 Comics in Oakwood, Georgia, Dean has an endless supply of comics at his fingertips, which he uses to bathe his passion of over 3 decades. Not to mention, he draws them, he writes them, he lives them.
I guess the thing that always jumps out at my mind about elementary school and being a creative person is that everyone in preschool and kindergarten and first grade draws. Everyone draws, and then suddenly only a couple of kids draw. It's the kids who get told how good they are. I wasn't one of those kids, and so first and second grade, I wasn't the kid who drew because there were other kids who were amazing. And I had this friend named Cedric from kindergarten on, and he could draw anything. And he could draw the Ninja Turtles, and he could draw characters from Super Mario and superheroes and stuff. But the Ninja Turtles were the big thing. And in third grade, my memory of it is that just every day someone was asking Cedric to draw me Donatello, draw me Raphael, And one day after class, some sort of thing where we're going from Miss Folsom's room to Miss Harrison's room or something like that. Mm-hmm. And in that window, that 5-minute window, Cedric is just like, Dean, it's so easy. You just draw this line for the top of the head, and then this larger oval down here for the bottom, and then the mask, and this bump for the nose, and then it turns into the smile. And it was like he'd shown me how magic works. It was just it's not this big mysterious thing. It's just this little process of these few things, and you've got a Ninja Turtle, and then you add the mask, tails and stuff. From then on, we were the 2 guys that drew Ninja Turtles, and everybody asked us every day. And then the next year, I moved out to Jefferson, more of a rural area, because I was outside Atlanta before. And I moved into 4th grade as the guy who draws. And I'd wanted to be a writer, because I'd read all the C.S. Lewis books, the Chronicles of Narnia, and My Teacher is an Alien, and all these kids series, and that's what I wanted to do. And then I think it was 5th grade when they showed us the Batman movie, and that's what got me into comics. Is the next week I bought my first Batman comic, and then it was this thing where comics are a combination of the 2 things that I loved as a creative output. It was the written word and art, and it was the only thing that combines those 2. So I got heavy into it real quick.
It's no secret that stories can have a huge impact on our personal lives, but for some, the heroics of their characters resonate a little more. Dean has used his love for comics to help others.
I did a book about being sexually abused as a kid and how the stories of superhero origins, specifically Batman, helped me make sense of a horrible crime and then having to rebuild yourself. I mean, that's the story of Batman. Is the hero of Batman isn't the guy in the costume, it's the 8-year-old kid who makes a vow to keep this from happening to anyone else. And to dedicate his life to training and getting to where he could prevent the crimes that hurt him. And my 2 crimes were, that hurt me in my life were my father leaving, and then immediately after that being abused, and I was threatened with a gun. And so I felt this really strong connection. I had talked about seeing the Batman movie and that getting me into comics, and that's why, I felt this super strong connection, because I liked Batman as much as anybody. In preschool we used to watch the Adam West show, and I'd watch it at home, but that was the first time I saw his origin, and I was like, you know, it's the story Bill Finger came up with when he wrote the first origin of Batman. Like, Batman had been around. He had, you know, co-created him with Bob Kane. They'd done a bunch of stories with him, but then he has this idea for, like, where does he come from? What's the origin story of this guy? And it's amazing. Like, it's real good. And, you know, it synthesizes ideas that had come before, but it is a really strong, this one crime to this one kid who makes the right choice with what to do with that. So yeah, as I got older and I had a child myself and I'd lived with all this fear of being told that people who are abused become abusers themselves, I just struggled with it. Like, it became more and more pronounced as my son approached the age when my father left. And I knew that his father had left him at the same age, so I've had this, like, life goal of getting to, you know, the age that my son, that I was. Yeah, it's just, I have to cut that off. And also just being afraid that there's some kind of, it's like you've been bitten by a werewolf, you know, that there's something wrong with you. Every cop show is telling you that the excuse, and it's understandable. Like, people who would hurt children are so terrible that normal people, like, try to make sense of it. They try. It's like these mass shootings that are going around. Everyone's like, it's a mental illness issue, and it's like, there may be in some cases, but it's like, you can't just accept that some people are terrible. They choose to hurt others for whatever dumb reason, and that's something that people want to distance themselves from. And so they've made up this thing that it's a cycle of violence. You hurt somebody, they become somebody who hurts someone else. They hurt somebody, and then they hurt someone else. And it's like this sins of the father kind of weird thing, this infection that's running down these lines, when actually it's just choices that people make. People talk about how unrelatable these superheroes are, but they're really just metaphors for what you're doing with your life. Which is why the child endangerment argument with Robin, it's like, it's a metaphor. Like, yeah. It's not that you should really train kids to go fight crime and dodge bullets. It's that you should adopt, quote unquote, people who are like you and try and help them with what you learned going through this. I get to do this, you know, both in comics and now with having done something terrible with, because I get abuse victims who write to me, and, like, some of them are younger, and it's this thing of, like, I know how awful this is, and I know you're gonna be okay because you've got these things, and you've got your choices, and you've got me. And it's another thing that Batman taught me. I didn't know I was gonna be doing that with something terrible, but it's been kind of cool. It's hard, but it's cool.
Right now, where can people buy something terrible?
Well, you can, actually, I just released the new edition with the new epilogue, which is like a new 4-page epilogue that I'm really proud of. You can get it for free right now if you just go to my blog and look for it. But the 99-cent original version is at deantrippe.com. Just click on Something Terrible, and you can read the abridged version for free, and then you can click on the download to get the 99-cent version.
So we just loaded the car, and Phil's getting married.
No.
I mean, he's getting married. Have a good day. He doesn't care.
I went to the bathroom, came back. Yeah, 'cause I'm not even